This is on the subject of theory power, which is a small 150-page book I wrote some years ago. I think it's now part of Excellent Science's book that I published. But this is a video version of it. And basically, uh, what is the point of theory? What's the practical power that theory has? And the fundamental idea is that people with more theories and more diverse theories notice things in situations that the rest of us don't notice at all and can't notice. And they can take actions. They have alternative actions that the rest of us can't imagine at all or do. They live in a bigger world. And if they have more diverse theories and simply larger number of theories than we have, then they live in a vastly larger world. And they can take vastly more alternative actions than we can in the same situation. And they can see situations we can't even see and take actions, respond to them when we can't even see the situation, therefore we can't respond at all. And they have bigger lives and they live in bigger worlds. And if you've never met anybody personally in your life like that, then you probably don't believe in theory power. And you probably have this blue collar prejudice against theory, which a lot of political cultures have, especially in the United States and England and Anglo cultures, where the lower classes have inherited from uneducated, undereducated upper classes a prejudice against theory. Now, I made a model of my 256 favorite theories a few years ago. Here they are. And that's 64 times 4. And organizing them in groups of 4 and 16 and 64 and 256. And those are 256 of my favorite theories. Each one has 4 to 8 key concepts or variables and an outcome that those variables generate or predict or prevent. And I read a lot, and I turn my readings into models. And then if the models is succinct and powerful enough, then you could call it a theory. I use the example of Deborah Tannen's book on You Just Don't Understand, where she summarizes 20 years of her research into how females and males talk differently into 11 specific differences between how females and males talk. And then I have my students do an experiment of all day, one day, recording their conversations with the opposite sex and using those 11 behaviors to respond to the opposite sex the way they want to be responded to and not the way that we in our gender want to be responded to. And then notice the results. And it amazes, absolutely astonishes them. The degree to which the other gender likes them better and responds to them better when they are using the 11 behaviors for the gender that they're talking to rather than the ones habitual to their own gender. And that's the power of theory. Now imagine, men and women, especially young ones in college, say they're interested in each other, but they never actually study each other. And so the men never study female culture and females never study male culture. And you assume they understand it. They don't at all. Another exercise at the University of Chicago for my MBAs in marketing, I had my males, about 150 of them, cut out, buy the top 5 selling women's magazines, cut out the ads and the articles and categorize them. Had the women do the same for the top 5 men's magazines. And then they categorized both, and then they looked at the ad categories compared to the article categories for both. And then we looked at took number of ads and number of articles to be the indicator of major interest and second interest and third biggest interest. Turns out that the main interest that men and women have is the same. That using this crude measure, all men and all women have exactly the same number one interest, which is female skin. Of course, the males are more interested in some small fraction of female skin than others, and females are very interested in keeping their skin white and soft and all this other stuff. The second interest, though, diverges enormously. The second biggest interest of males by this measure, of females by this measure, is human relationships and sort of celebrity gossip. And the not fashion and not several other things you would think. The second biggest interest of men is toys, stereos, cameras, gear, that kind of stuff. And a certain part of the anatomy of men is also considered a toy for this purpose. And then we can go to the third and fourth, but you get the idea. And so the Deborah Tannen's theory of gender discourse differences has tremendous immediate practical power. And after I get my students for one day to apply and record their application of this, their life changes. They realize that they have now the opportunity to actually greatly impress this woman if they're a man, or this man if they're a woman, by responding in the way that gender wants to be responded to instead of the way my gender wants to respond. Now, this doesn't mean that you shouldn't ignore what the other gender wants and do it your way. There's this interplay where what males never do and can't do and don't want to do, sometimes uh, they need. And similarly for women, what they don't want to do, can't do, and don't wish to do, and habitually don't do, sometimes they need. But you have to be very judicious about that, and you probably have to tell the other person that there's something unpleasant, doesn't fit you, your nature doesn't fit what you want, but you probably need it now, and I'm going to suggest it, and then you can react to that. Anyway, it's a proof of the power of theory. Now, I have 256 theories, so I try to take another one. Fisk's theory on 4 fundamental types of human relationship is a good one to try. Hannah Arendt's theory on liberation, freedom, historic agreement, foundation, and conserving novelty as the 4 steps of social revolution. That's another good one to try. Rollo May's theory of negative power, assertion power, partnering power, and transformative power is another one that's very good to try. Well, there's 256 of them there on that model. And that's the power of theory. It simply makes you notice things other people can't notice, and you have alternative actions in situations that everybody faces that they don't have, and you have alternative actions in situations you notice they don't notice, even in situations that you can take that they don't have. So you take action, you imagine and do actions that people can take, and you see parts of the world other people don't see, and you respond to things other people don't respond to because they can't see them. You actually have a bigger life, bigger experience, bigger world you're living in because of theories. And it behooves you to take all your inputs and turn them into theories. And then use every input you have to make the world bigger that you live and operate in. But to do that requires a very powerful, special kind of regularizing, simplifying, and complexifying of information. And that's a topic for another video.